Sorry, my window got closed.
Okay, no issues. Okay. I thought what happened. Yeah, so what are all projects you have worked on? Can you a little brief on what projects you have worked on?
Regarding projects, I started with Ecom Express and there I was working with logistics projects. There were many projects which I handle like mid mile, last mile. And Globallogic, I was working with partners group and that was related to banking and investment. So and right now I'm working with Marrow Post.
Okay. Okay. So let's start with AWS. It asks you some basic questions of AWS. So do you know what's the difference between NACL and a security group?
Yes, NACL is a subnet level and security group is like the firewall, and if we want to allow any port or so we can do it in security group. And NACL is at subnet level.
So like why NACL is required if we have security group and why security group is needed when NACL is there?
Like if we want to secure our networks more than we can use NACL at subnet level also, and there will be more security, enhanced security will be there.
Okay. Any key difference between NACL and security group, like a main difference?
Main difference is that NACL is a subnet level and security group is a VPC level.
Okay. Can I deny traffic in security group?
Yeah, no, you cannot deny traffic in security group. You can allow
Okay.
inbounds and outbound rules, but in NACL you can do that.
Okay. NACL we can deny, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good. What is a NAT? What is that?
NAT gateway is like if we want to access any services outside of VPC, or we can connect S3 bucket with that or a DynamoDB. Network
Okay.
address translation.
Okay. So why NAT is needed first thing, and what is the difference between NAT gateway and NAT instance?
NAT gateway is like if we want our private subnet to access the applications or access internet, then we use NAT gateway. And NAT instance is like we are using some Amazon NAT AMI to create a NAT instance. So that is NAT gateway is a service provided by AWS, and NAT instance we create an instance of that out of that. So that
O-
private subnet access the internet.
Okay. So okay. Okay. So what's the reason of creating NAT? Like why we create only to like only to have a public access for the private instances or private services? Only that or anything else?
Yes, if our public private subnet wants to access the internet, then we use NAT gateway. That's the
Okay.
reason.
In which subnet NAT is created? When we create the NAT, we create in which subnet?
We created a public subnet.
Okay. Yeah, good. Okay. Do you know about systems manager in AWS?
Yes, like if we want to store any password or anything, then we can use the
No,
system
no, no,
and
no. Not secret manager. I'm talking about systems manager.
no, I have not used.
Okay. Okay. What is Lambda function?
A lambda function is like if we want to call any function with the help of Python, like if we want to delete any server which are not being used, we can use lambda function. So it is a serverless architecture, like it creates the servers and then delete when the job is done.
Okay. Can you draw a difference between a canary deployment and a blue-green deployment?
Blue green deployment is like blue is the older version and green is the latest version, and like when the changes are done, then we route the traffic from blue to green. So that is blue green deployment. And in Canary, that like we slowly and gradually the traffics are moved from old pods to new pods. So that is the difference.
Okay. Okay. What are the type of records in Route 3?
Like there is A name, C name, triple A name, and then all this type of records are there.
Okay. What are cost allocation step?
Cost allocation.
Yes.
Like cost allocation is like the services which you're using in AWS, we are getting costed for that. Like
Okay. Okay. So wait, do how we create a cost allocation tag in AWS?
we can define what services which are using. We are we using spot instance or regular instance. So With based on that, we can predict what costing are being used in AWS. We,
Okay. What are the services in AWS we can use to mitigate DDoS type of attack?
DDoS type of, I've not used that.
Do you know what is DDoS attack?
Yes,
So, what are the services can we use to mitigate that?
we can use load balancer, and we load balancer for that, and we can install third-party software. We are using third-party software for that.
Okay. Only third party. There is no AWS services which we can use. Like there is no service which AWS provides.
I'm not sure about that, but we are using HA proxy with DDoS attacks. So our Cloudflare we are using right now.
Okay, yeah. Basically, this is Cloudflare, right? Okay, good. What is a forward proxy and a reverse proxy?
Forward proxy is like when we want to route the traffic to multiple servers, then we use proxy.
Okay. And reverse?
Reverse is at like client side. So difference is that reverse is at client side, and forward is at server level side.
Okay. Uh, okay. Now let's add to Docker.
Okay.
AWS is good. Then why Docker is important? Like if we have other architectures, why Docker is in place? Why we use Docker?
Like there are several dependencies and package which have been moved to like UAT environment, and then it has been tested to developer environment. So that's why we package the dependency in that image only, or we write a Docker file so we can move to further environments with easily without any uh, issues. So
Okay. Okay. Can you draw some demerits of Docker?
demerits of Docker is like there's a life cycle of container. Like if containers dies, then for that we use Kubernetes or Docker Swarm. And Docker images, we have to create a Docker image for that, and the Docker image can be big in size, so we have to use multi-stage pipeline, multi-stage Docker images, all this.
No, that's not a disadvantage. That's a part of process. I am asking you the disadvantage. Like what are the disadvantage which generates when you use a Docker image or you create a Docker environment. Like what are the differences between a normal architecture and when you create via Docker? What are the demerits of that? That's what I'm asking.
Demerits is like Docker is lightweight, and like you do not need not to use the whole image again and again while on the server you have to do it. Like the base image is very high, and Docker is very fast and convenient as compared to server level. So
Okay. What is virtualization?
virtualization is like when you do. I'm not sure.
Okay. Uh, Difference between uh, VMware and a Docker.
VMware is like hyper localization is done at OS level, and Docker we generally share the host operating system, so that is why Docker is more light in weight as compared to VM.
Okay. Out of these two, like Docker and VMware, which is having their dedicated kernel.
VMware is having dedicated kernel.
Okay. Uh, what is the difference between Docker inspect command and Docker logs command?
Docker inspect is used to check the what is the life cycle. What ports are being exposed, what port is open, so we use Docker inspect for that. And Docker logs gives the logs of the container.
Okay. What are the components of a Docker file?
In Docker file we generally use CMD, run entry point port from which image we want to use.
What is the use of entry point?
Like when we start the container, if we want to execute a particular command, then like java dash jar and then the application name, then we use entry point.
Yeah, allow me a second. Okay. Okay. So can you share your screen and write a Docker file to run a to run an Nginx image?
Okay.
Yeah, you can write it over here. Okay, good the reference. That's good. Okay. Okay, let's move to KTS.
Okay.
Okay. So we have Docker Swarm. Why we use Kubernetes then?
Like Docker, Swarm is used for only for Docker. So and Kubernetes like more flexibility. So we use Kubernetes.
What are the extended capabilities which Kubernetes provide over Docker Swarm or Docker?
External capabilities like we get rollouts, rollbacks, we get automatic scheduling. We can use load balancer. We can attach persistent volumes with our Kubernetes clusters or nodes. And also we can create namespaces in Kubernetes, which is different for many projects. So all these features we get in Kubernetes.
Okay. Okay. What's the difference between deploying an application on host versus deploying an application on a container?
Deploying an application on host is like where we are running the application and there's nothing is managing it. Like if a application dies, then it is at their own risk that like, we have to manage. And Kubernetes, like if the application is running inside the pod, then Kubernetes can automatically restart it, or we can use liveness, readiness probe, all these things.
Okay. You know about services and Kubernetes?
Yes.
What are different type of services are there?
There is cluster port for which if we want to access the application inside, then we use cluster IP, and then we node port if we want to expose our application to external, then we can use node port, and load balancer we can use. Also, we can use ingress.
Okay. Okay, Kubernetes is okay. We are running out of time. Okay, let's move to Terraform. What's the state file do in that Terraform?
State file is generally like if you create any instance, then it is generally recorded in TF state file. So like if when we delete any instance, then it will generally when we plan, then it will give that this instance is going to be created. So it is the backup of our state current state.
Okay. Then, what are the locals in Terraform?
Like if we want to execute any script in our local system, then we use a local exec provisioner.
Are you sure?
Are you asking locals?
Yeah, locals in Terraform.
No, locals I did not know.
Okay. What is remote backend?
Remote backend, like I'm not sure.
Uh, what happens, for example, there is a situation and your Terraform state file got deleted. You are running your infrastructure on AWS and your state file got deleted. Then the first thing, what will happen? And next thing, how will you mitigate that?
Terraform state file will be created again when we do plan and apply. So it will again take the backup. Like we take the backup in S3 bucket. So that
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Okay, so you're saying if the state file got deleted, there is no impact, and state file got created again when you create the Terraform init, Terraform apply, Terraform
Yes.
plan. Okay. Okay, let's move to Jenkins. Okay, so you worked on Jenkins?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And you worked on Harness?
No, harness are not work.
Okay, did you read about the job description? I think it is asking for Harness also, right?
I did not got the JD. I asked for the recruiter, but they did not send me.
Okay. Okay. Have you any experience in writing Ansible playbook?
Yes.
Okay, what's the difference between Ansible and Chef?
Ansible is a push based and Chef is pull based. In Ansible we have to apply and then it will automatically go to all other servers. And in Ansible playbook in Chef we have to do it on all servers up command again and again. So it
Okay.
is.
Okay. Then another thing is, what's the difference between ECS and EKS?
ECS is Elastic Container Service and EKS is Amazon Containers Kubernetes Services. So when we want to manage our container directly, then we use ECS, Elastic Container Service. We can write the JSON for that, and then our container is being managed at. It is a service provided for container in Amazon. And Kubernetes for Kubernetes we're using EKS. All the cluster workers are managed by Amazon only, and we can.
But for example, we need to deploy a Nginx pod. We can deploy it on EKS or ECS, right? So what's the difference? Like why two services? Only we can work by so much of complexity. We can directly use ECS or EKS. Anyone, like why we have two? Or both using the same AWS AWS registry to store the images. So why two services are there, which are using the same registry?
Like because in EKS we get more complex and advanced feature as compared to ECS.
Okay. And what are those?
In EKS we have to create master and server worker nodes, and there are many advanced features of Kubernetes which like we can use we can secrets config manager, and we can use many replication controllers so to control our pods. So that's why we for advanced level we are using EKS, and if we want the steps to be easier, then we generally use ECS.
Okay. Okay. Uh, what is the difference between AWS config and CloudTrail?
CloudTrail is generally for checking if an logs of who created the instances or deleted all these things.
Okay. And what about this?
AWS config,
Yes.
I don't remember.
Okay. No issues. Um, what is continuous deployment and continuous delivery?
Whenever we developer push the code, then it will be automatically be deployed to the UAT servers, and delivery should be done. So that is what CI/CD is.
No, my question is CI/CD. I'm not asking. I'm asking about continuous deployment and continuous delivery. They are two terms. Like the full form CI/CD is sometimes referred as continuous integration, continuous deployment, and sometimes it is referred as continuous integration, continuous delivery. Then why two terms? Like what is the difference between deployment and delivery?
Delivery is when we push the code to the UAT environment, it is delivery, and deployment is there are three environments. So
Okay, no issues. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, what are the type of pipelines in Jenkins we have?
type of pipeline is like scriptive and declarative pipelines.
What's the difference between those?
In scriptive, in declarative we can define all the steps for git pull and clone, and scriptive we just write the script for Groovy, and then the pipeline is being executed.
Okay, can you share your screen? Okay. Can you write a Jenkins function?
Which function?
A Jenkins function, like create a Jenkins function and call it in some other Python. How to define a function and then how you call the function in some other, like how you call that function or use that function in some other Python. Do you know about that?
No, I not use this function.
Okay, no issues. You can switch the screen off. Okay. What are what is DNS switching?
DNS switching, we create a DNS server, and there are many IPs app in per website, so we can switch over multiple DNS.
Okay. What is HashiCorp Vault?
HashiCorp Vault is like storing our secrets, so it's a software provided by HashiCorp. So if you want to store any secrets or configs, we can use HashiCorp Vault.
Okay. What's the difference between a secret and an app role?
Secret generally is our app password, API password, and rules are configs for that.
Do you know the specific definition of app role in HashiCorp Vault? Have you created any app role?
No.
Okay. 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 So, okay, let's talk about Bash.
Okay.
For example, you have two scripts. You have a script number one and a script number two. You are calling script two using script one. Okay. And now you need the logs of script two. How you will get that?
We can use the redirect to a particular file of that output to two and one. Then we can direct to a particular file, so we get the log of the
Okay. What is T command used for? TWE.
T command.
T
Um,
command in Bash. TWE.
no,
You know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Let's move to GitHub. For example, there is a situation you. Okay, so first tell me what's the concept of branching, like main and like other branch. Why we get two and three branches?
Generally, there are three branches: UAT, staging, and production. So first we deploy it to UAT, and then it goes to staging and production. So whenever the code goes to staging, then it is deployed. So there are three branches. So accordingly, we do that.
Okay, what is cherry picking?
It is taking commit from one branch to another branch is called cherry pick.
Okay. Uh, okay. 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 I think you are good. Your interview is over, and HR will get back to you on the feedback. Other than that, you are from IMS, right? IMS Ghaziabad.
Yes.
I'm also from there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Amit.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.